At the outset, let me welcome Professor Swapnil Desai sir, TPO, and Dr. Pradeep Mane sir for today's webinar on Introduction to Extended Reality and Opportunities in the field of XR, AR, and VR, which will be delivered by our alumnus of batch 2020 from Information Technology Department, Mr. Ritvish Joshi. Ritvish sir, a very hearty welcome to the VPPCOE and VA's virtual campus. To begin with, let me call upon Dr. Pradeep Mane sir to give the formal introduction of the event. Sir, please.
Okay. Thank you, Apurva.
Yes, sir.
So, dear students, the greetings from the Vasantdada Patil Pratishtan's College of Engineering and Virtual Arts. Uh, as a part of the efforts to improve the engineering and technology skills of students, the training and placement department, undertake a variety of initiatives so that our students keep pace up with the rapid changes in the world of technology. So one such a initiative, the association with the training and placement department, the alumni cell is arranging the alumni talk series towards every weekend. So the activity in this alumni talk series, we have invited Rutvik Joshi to give the talk on the recent trends that coming up. So he is delivering the talk on the extended reality and the opportunities in the VR. So, as introducing the Rutvik Joshi, he is a game developer at a Play Shifu company. So, he's the alumni from the IT department from the batch 2020. So, he is passionate about the developing the games to create the immersive and the memorable experience for the players. He's also good grasp of a Unity game engine with a strong knowledge on the C sharp language along with the other languages like the normal Python, the PHP and all these things. So he's also developed the six projects of the game projects that is the not another endless runner, then the standard together reboot and the uh, pinball games, and he also published one paper on implementation of peer-to-peer architecture in MMORPGs. Uh, so I'm not taking so much time. I'm hand over the session to the Rutvij. So please give the uh, guidelines to how to go ahead with the extended reality and how we will do the career in this VR and all this era. Thank you, Rutvij, and please start your session.
Thank you, Pradeep sir. Hi everyone. Um, just gonna share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay. Uh, is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, Rutvij.
Okay. So extended reality is a concept. So when Pradeep sir actually asked me for a topic, uh, everyone is going on the bandwagon for metaverse and everything right now. It's a big concept that is being a lot of slang words that are being thrown around: metaverse, NFTs, and virtual reality is in a big boom. AR is there. So I was like, let this can't be a better there can't be a better topic than this to take up. So for first things, extended reality is a term that has been there for a while now. Extended reality is a combination of XR, is a combination of AR, VR, and MR, which is augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So now, before we get into extended reality, the first thing is I want to discuss about is metaverse. So recently we've seen that there has been a lot of talk relating to metaverse ever since August, when Mark Zuckerberg first came up with the concept, and they changed the name of Facebook to Meta, and it's been a whole big thing. And now every day you see new companies getting into metaverse, and you see new technologies coming up just to support metaverse. So what exactly is metaverse, for one? So meta, are you so can we have a little bit of an interactive session where you guys can also pitch in? Is that okay, sir?
Yes. You go ahead with your.
Okay. So can someone tell me if you
If
know what
if
metaverse
you want,
is?
students, if you want to ask anything, you can directly ask to the
Yes,
quiz.
please
No issues.
feel free. Let's keep this a little bit interactive. I mean, okay, I'm not going to go into like पूरा ऐसे technical, and I'm not gonna bore you guys. So थोड़ा ऐसे conversation like light रखते हैं. So someone wants to
You
pitch
go
in
ahead
what?
with your slides. So when you just
Okay, sure,
start the
sure,
session, so they question in between. So
sure,
just
sure.
give
Okay,
the topics, then we discuss with you. Yes.
okay. So now, ever since the last 2 years when the pandemic hit, and social media was always on a rise since the year of in the early 2010s. Since then, social media has been on a very big rise. And and 2 years back when the pandemic hit, that is when suddenly everyone went on a standstill, and we all went to work remotely. And so the social media culture grew even more exponentially. So the first thing was that there was a big surge in social media platform usage. The charts for social media usage, apps usage, was going out of bounds. The next thing was that because of the pandemic, everyone started to work from home. Now we're all studying from home, we're all working from home, everything is being done remotely. And so this is the core reason, and this is the main thing that encouraged. Yeah. So as uh, I was saying, so this culture of working remotely and working remotely while staying connected to one another was something that has been a big driving force for the concept of metaverse. Now, when coming up with metaverse, the whole concept is that social media apps allow us to communicate with one another even when we are not present physically. Metaverse goes one step further by putting you into a virtual world. It puts you into a virtual world where you can actually physically see someone else's character, or you can physically identify someone else as a person, and you can know, and everyone has some distinct avatar or some distinct presence in that world. And then you can communicate with each other and perform a lot of actions with each other in harmony in that specific world. So now when I actually have had a couple of conversations relating to metaverse, there has always been a little bit of confusion saying that yes, metaverse is only about we wear the VR headset, we go into a world and we are going to be using AR for that. No, actually metaverse is not just about VR or AR. If talking about like fixedly talking about it, the earliest concept of metaverse, if we think about it, if some of you may be familiar with games, there is a game called as Second Life. That was a game that was released in 2003, and that is actually like it's a little bit of a conversation of debate, but it is generally regarded as the first game that actually, in the correct sense, implemented what metaverse wants to be. You create a digital avatar, you create your own avatar, you buy properties in that place, you can decorate the stuff, you're actually living a virtual life, which is what metaverse is wanting to do. And when we think about it, there are a lot of other games that have very similar implementation to what metaverse wants to be. I mean, talking about games, we can go with Minecraft. Minecraft is a game that is also considered to be a very base version of what metaverse aims for. As yes, Minecraft does incorporate a lot of features. You have your avatar, you are living in a world with other players, you're creating stuff in there. And Roblox is another game that is also in this debate whether it can be considered as a metaverse part or not. But so yeah, metaverse is the term itself may be new, but the implementation is one that has been there for a lot of years. And the another point about it is that now the term itself means metaverse. As soon as we hear, and as soon as we hear that metaverse was by Mark Zuckerberg, and Facebook also has Oculus and virtual reality is something that Meta is focusing and marketing right now. So we always think that metaverse is all about wearing that VR headset and just putting yourself into that virtual world. But no, metaverse is any virtual world where you have a distinct avatar of yourself, or where you have your distinct personality or character, and you're just going around it. So that's the base scenario for metaverse. Introducing VR and AR is the way we immerse ourselves into metaverse even a step further. So the next point is that now, earlier, because of the pandemic and all, we started working from home, and now if you look at it, a lot of people do want to continue working from home. Hybrid cultures and companies are forming up, and all of this has given a lot of potential for the whole sector of extended reality. So this is where we are trying to move away from our social life into a virtual world. So now, to give you a couple of instances for this, if you see the first presentation that Mark Zuckerberg had done, he first had a complete meeting that was there inside of this virtual environment that they had done. And then if you see, not just the meetings, there are a lot of other things that are happening. There are meetings that can take place in metaverse, there are weddings that are taking place in metaverse, there are concerts that are being taken place in virtual environments, and a lot of other scenarios. So you people buy accessories, people are buying properties inside virtual environments, people are buying virtual land. So this is the core scenario. And with the rise of cryptocurrency is another thing that has also given boost to the concept, and people are getting faith that yes, virtual things can be very, like, virtual things are getting more importance because of cryptocurrency being such an important factor in the recent times. It has given a little bit of confidence to people to actually think that yes, a virtual environment, a virtual scenario where we are actually simulating things could work. uh, Next is the rise of virtual goods and NFTs. So now most of you guys may be playing a lot of games, and you guys actually purchase things around in games. For example, PUBG के अंदर ये skin खरीदना है, या फिर ये gun की skin चाहिए, we want to buy this kind of shirt in that game, and we want to buy some goods for this game, gun skins, weapon skins, all of this goods that you are purchasing has now transitioned. And there is actually, so in metaverse, the whole concept is that you actually, yes, CS:GO skins, a lot of that. So that was an early version of it, and now that has what has transitioned into this metaverse scenario. So there are companies that if you think about it, fashion companies, they're not just designing clothes for real clothes anymore. They're actually creating clothes that can be that are going to be shown as a for your virtual characters. They are designing clothes that are uh, there in the virtual characters. Yes, Mayur, I think. Uh, Sorry, Praneeth, yes. Ready Player One. Ready Player One is a really good example, and there is a book as well for that. Where, if you think about it, there is a group of people who are very poor. If some of you don't know, I'm just gonna give you a skip over it. Who are not that high society, or who are living in a little bit of a below poverty line kind of a scenario. And so in that, they actually create a virtual world where they enhance all of their entire living scenario, and they are living in a better, in virtually they are living like, I mean, anything. They have good uh, place to live, they have good this thing, they are physically, like, they have six pack abs. And so that's the whole, like, base concept, and that is what can be considered as a scenario for this. So yeah, now coming to NFTs. Virtual goods are one thing. You buy a lot of goods you buy goods virtually that can be used inside that virtual world. So that is one scenario where you're buying clothes for your virtual character, you're buying like accessories for your virtual character. I mean, sure, you have a iPhone in real life, but what phone does your character in your virtual game have? That's the whole concept now. Apart from this, the another thing that is coming up is you actually buying into the experience. So if any of you have recently seen, Walmart presented a concept of how a virtual store experience would work. So you're sitting at your home, you have a VR headset, and you're actually in through that you are actually in their store. You are going to be buying things, you're going to be picking up those things manually using that VR headset in that virtual store. You'll place it into your cart, you go to the counter, you actually buy it. Now you actually then pay and do the whole payment system as per you would do in a real store, but you're sitting at your home and then the goods get delivered to you. So now there is a lot of debate around this concept that when we can do it through our app, why would we bother to do it in a store again? Like, why would we do it virtually when this is more time consuming? And the whole purpose of doing things through app is to reduce the consumption, like time consumption. But yes, this concept is actually a very unique one. All of these concepts are unique, and whether or not they have their own merits, or demerits, they're still something that are worth looking into. So there are virtual goods that can be used inside virtual worlds, and then there are goods that you buy virtually, which will get delivered to you, or which you actually use in the physical world. Are the two concepts. But then there is a third thing, which is a very big factor of, coming into metaverse and the whole virtual economy, if we call it, is NFTs. And so if most of you maybe think, so NFTs are a term that have been going around for a while. If you I think most of you may have heard what NFTs are. But there has always been a little bit of misconception, because we've always confused NFTs with cryptocurrency. And inherently, yes, they are both of digital form of token that you get, but they are essentially a little bit different than from each other. So first of all, NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens. And essentially, now when we talk about NFT, one example I would give, to just simply differentiate NFTs are, that if you think about physical money, always, if we talk in rupees or in dollars, 1 rupee is always going to be equal to 1 rupee. Anywhere you go, the price that coin will have the same value. Where in similar way, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency that you take, that cryptocurrency has a fixed value for each unit. Where so 1 Bitcoin, you go anywhere, will still be the same price. Non-fungible tokens, NFTs, essentially differ in this specific pattern, where each of that unit, each commodity is unique. Each commodity is essentially a unique thing, which is not which is very distinguishable, and which is not going to be replicated to some other, or which is not going to be matched to some other commodity, which is why it has a very big importance. A quick example would be that, cryptocurrency are like money. NFTs are, to give you a simple example, can be called as, anything that you buy which is unique. For example, if you buy a painting from an artist, that painting, if you buy physically, that painting is unique to that one painting, right? Even if the artist creates another one, that painting is still going to be unique. That another painting will be a separate painting. So NFTs are like those. They are each NFT is a independent component, which is completely unique to its own thing. Now, what is the use of NFTs? So because of this all virtual trend that is being set, basically, if you guys have ever, like, I'm pretty sure most of you have done this, you guys, trading cards, हम छोटे होते थे, we used to have trading cards. So Pokemon cards or WWE cards, or those cards that we used to trade with other people. Now each card used to be unique. Now sure, matlab, there were always a lot of copies of the cards, but there were cards. So NFTs can be assumed as those cards. You have that card, and that is your card. But NFT works virtually. And the next factor that comes in is that each NFT can store proper information relating to its linear. Uh, so NFT will not, essentially, yes, it can be a form of currency. It's it's better if we look at it like a commodity. Cryptocurrency is a currency, definitely. There can be virtual currency, but currency essentially is something that has a fixed value. NFTs can be considered as a commodity, which is unique to itself. So, to give you a simple example, we buy a property. Okay, we buy a land in real world. Now that land can either be sold to a person, to another person, or that can be kept by you. So, but that land is unique to itself. उसके बाजू में दूसरा plot हो सकता है, but there can only be one plot at one place, right? Uh, Again, no. So gold, all of these are having specific values, whereas NFTs are unique. So now, to again, a simple example would be, you buying land is one of the simplest example I can give you. Or if you are buying a painting from someone, or if you, for example, buy an artist है, auction चल रहा है, you get a painting. वो painting सिर्फ एक ही हो सकती है. There can be duplicate copies of that painting, but that painting itself is real. So now if you have that painting, only the original painting has the value, right? The duplicate one doesn't have the value. So NFTs are like that. Each NFT is unique to itself and it cannot be duplicated. So if I have, for example, a digital painting that I bought from an artist, yes, NFTs have different values for different things. So essentially think about, so there are virtual digital plots that you can buy. If you are looking at the screen, this screen is that image that you're seeing is a auction that is going on for a virtual land. Now here, all of these small things that you see are plots. Each of these square is a plot which is there, and that plot can be bought. Now since this square, that plot that you buy, the currency that you use, it can be a cryptocurrency, it could be real money, that's a different thing. But the plot that you buy will be unique to you. Unless you sell it to someone else or not, that specific block will be your own. No one can duplicate that block in that place. So NFTs are essentially commodities that don't have any duplications, or that are independent to themselves, and that are very non fungible. That is, they are not copyable. They are independent. Each NFT is, then you can create a new NFT, but you can't duplicate the same NFT. It's like a pawn shop which can be kept as a hobby to make profit. Yes, definitely. So right now there is no specific use for NFTs as such. The only thing right now is that investors buy NFTs because they have values. And so now each block has a different, so this is a good thing. So actually there was one instance where one person bought 4 or 5 different small blocks, and he combined it to make it a big estate. And now then he sold that estate for 4 to 5 times that money. So that is why. So each block is, for example, if you buy 3 different or 4 different blocks, now you make a bigger square out of it. So that's your bigger property. Now you can sell it for a higher price. So it's basically like each property is unique. So you can keep it, you can store it. Right now it's just a very virtual thing that is just used by investors and enthusiasts who like to invest in future technologies. But so there is no specific use for it as of now. If you guys actually want to see what NFTs are, and like if you actually want to see the commodities themselves, there is a site called as OpenSea.io where you can actually go and search for NFTs. You can basically, it's like an Amazon for NFT items. You can go there, you can see land, virtual land, you can see virtual art, you can see all sorts of different game skins and all. So yeah, it's a very collectibles from specific games that are NFTs and all. So OpenSea.io, I'll send that link at the end in the chat so that you guys can visit it if you want. But so that would give you a good idea of what and how commodities work in so yeah, I hope that is clear. So next, coming to the core part, that is virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, and how does it factor into metaverse, and how does it factor into the core scenario of this whole virtual space that we are creating. So metaverse itself doesn't mean that you have to have a you know a virtual reality headset or anything. Metaverse is just a virtual space for people to move around and people to do things in. Virtual reality, AR and MR are technologies that boost that experience, are technologies that improve that experience. Wearing, so you definitely can play a game. You people must even be playing them right now, and be playing it on your PC screens and stuff. But virtual reality takes you one step further by actually putting you in that world. You are there in a 3D space. You can look around and you can see what is actually happening, and you can experience things as you would in a real world. Augmented reality enhances things where you can actually you get some benefit, you get some virtual screens and stuff on your phones, or you get some virtual information from the real world things, and that helps you navigate stuff. And mixed reality, now mixed reality is often a one that confuses a lot of people. It's often where terms are a little bit fuzzy, where you are not sure what mixed reality is. Some people think virtual reality, AR combine karke mixed reality, and it's in a way true. So mixed reality is a place which does include a virtual reality scenario, but it doesn't include that. So you wear some sort of a glass mixed reality lens, or you wear some sort of lens that doesn't actually put you in a virtual world. It doesn't put you in a virtual world, but it actually puts virtual things into your world where you can perceive them. So Microsoft's HoloLens, for example, is a best example for mixed reality, where you will still be seeing your world, but you'll also be seeing virtual things. You can place virtual things, and then you can actually interact with those virtual things using those lenses. Now, we often think ये तो augmented reality भी करता है, but augmented reality essentially doesn't do it from this immersing way. It is often just you looking at a screen most of the times, where you are looking through the camera, and through that camera you are actually perceiving. So virtual things are still in the virtual space. You may get a experience of it through your phone. Mixed reality takes augmented reality, tries to infuse the sense that you can actually see it in 3D space and around you, things that are happening, and you can interact with those things. So now these three things are the foundational core things that are going to be going, the technology for the future, because virtual reality has become a lot more commercial and economical right now, with a lot of new headsets coming in every couple of months. You see Oculus, Facebook is coming up with new Oculus devices. Microsoft has sorry, not Microsoft, Steam has its own virtual reality Steam VR headsets that are coming in. PlayStation is coming in with the next generation of PlayStation VR headsets. So it's a very competitive. There are a lot of other independent, like third-party companies that are also making their own headsets that work on PC. So it's a very, and it's becoming a lot more economical, and uh, it's no longer a luxury. We can say that it's becoming a lot more of a comfort and normal use case scenarios. And with us working from home and us doing a lot of remote work, these things are actually gaining a lot of traction. So I hope mixed reality and AR VR the is everyone got that. So the next point is how are we actually implementing this, and where can we actually factor in. So as like undergrads, or as IT people, where do we factor into these, and what can you guys do going forward in the work? So technically speaking, in a simple term, if थोड़ा ऐसे लगेगा कि अरे क्या मतलब हो गया फिर, but so technically metaverse creates opportunities that are exactly the same as real world opportunities, if you think about it. there are lawyers inside metaverse, where there are all sorts of, like, there are story writers who write stories in metaverse for content. There are lawyers who have to handle stuff, who do things virtually for you, because hey, you're purchasing things and all of that. Then there are fashion designers who are actually creating virtual content for, who are actually creating the commodities and accessories that you're going to be using in the virtual world. So fashion designers, artists who create art and are selling them online and all. So it's a very so all the things that are there in our real world, they can all transition well into the metaverse. They can all be have the digital experience that are there. But speaking purely from a technical perspective, now what kind of jobs do we have, or what can we do as engineers, or people in IT? So before we get into that, this is the expected, like, if you look at this is the expected market cap that, and the companies that metaverse are right now openly and very heavily, wanting to invest and wanting to expand into metaverse concept. And another thing I want to say is metaverse itself, it's a concept. Metaverse is not something that is owned by Facebook, or it is not something that is owned, it is a concept that wants to demonstrate a virtual world. Any virtual world that you are a part of, it can be a metaverse. Any virtual world where you actually have, do things virtually, is metaverse. Metaverse is just a concept. It is not something that is specifically owned or anything. It can be any virtual world. And these are all the big, like, companies. If you look at them from an experience perspective, like, there are big companies like Epic Games and PlayStation, Nintendo, all big gaming companies, Netflix even, are investing heavily and trying to get you into that virtual experience as soon as they possible for them. There are a lot of companies like Unity and Microsoft and Adobe and Build Blocks, Roblox, all of them. They are trying to help, like, they are trying to provide you tools that can be helping in creating these virtual worlds. A lot of other stuff that we use, like databases, and also Amazon AWS, Azure, Deep Cloud, all of that is being used for, storage, because we need to store all of this. Cloud technologies are booming because of metaverse. And so it's a big scope. And these are all there. If you see any big company, everyone wants to get in the bandwagon for metaverse. But purely speaking from our perspective now, what can we do and what opportunities do we have as, we go into metaverse? So metaverse, for one, it's a very logical thing. You are someone who goes into game development scenario or something, that specifically my domain. If you think about that, you can help create these worlds. You can help create the environment. You create the backend logic that runs these worlds, for one. So that's one of the things, that you actually are a developer and you make games in that scenario, that virtual worlds. You could be an artist who designs these worlds, who creates, those 3D environments or even 2D environments, because it's not just about going through this 3D world that you're living in. It could be any virtual world. Virtual world could even be a 2D world, which is there, as you had seen that earlier picture of that world map, like that property map. So yeah, it could be any virtual world that is there. And so you could be a designer or artist. So traditionally, the whole concept of metaverse is that it transitions all of the traditional jobs into these factors, and so you have most of those there. Now, another factor that comes in is cybersecurity. That has always been a factor, and with metaverse and you actually creating a virtual presence, you creating a virtual avatar of yourself, and now that you start trading into those virtual commodities, you are, storing virtual commodities, you are actually buying stuff virtually for your virtual characters. Cybersecurity plays a big deal, because now you need privacy, you need to protect your data. So that is a very crucial part for metaverse, where you can be know, going into metaverse for the cyber security. aspect of it. For if any of you perspective from an hardware perspective, AR and VR along with mixed reality, yes, these three are becoming a very big scenario. So hardware wise, metaverse needs a lot of power to render those 3D worlds and the virtual worlds into, the VR headsets and everything. It's just a very big, thing. So hardware wise, it's a lot of scope to go into the hardware scenario of it. You can also, so if you actually, diversifying a little bit, uh, going into metaverse being a storyteller. Metaverse is all about telling, like have things happening. So you can be a planner in metaverse, you can be a storyteller inside metaverse. Any virtual world, they require some stories, they require content that can be consumed by the people inside those people playing in those virtual worlds, people inside the world. So storytellers are a big thing. Planners of the metaverse, the people who actually design the worlds and how the things will function. So planning out the infrastructure of that specific, virtual scenario that you are thinking about, and that ecosystem of metaverse is a very important thing, designing that how the ecosystem will flow and everything. So most of your traditional jobs, I mean, you think about it like that metaverse infrastructure and all of that, planners could just be a 3D printing could help bring virtual goods to real life. They that doesn't work that way. Virtual goods are, if you think about it, yes, they do have a visual distinction about themselves, and sure, you could print them out, but they would not be the actual thing. They would be a copy. See, the only reason virtual goods are accepted and the only reason people are actually investing is because they think it is unique. So non NFTs, the T stands for token. So every NFT has its own identity and has its own, token about it. So it has a unique ID or a unique cryptographic token that it has, and that can be replicated. So if you were to actually print those things, or for example, any 3D model you think about, they don't work like, it's not a 3D model in that sense. Sure, you may be visualizing it as a 3D model, but it's essentially a block of data. So it's a cryptographic token that makes sure that that token that stores the meta files and that stores all the information relating to its owners, its previous owners. So there is a whole lineage. So it keeps that lineage there. And if you were to actually, you're saying that for example, if you buy some 3D model as an NFT, like a lot of games have that, you that 3D model printing that would not be make it a real thing. Yes, sure, you can use it, but that's essentially a copy, and that doesn't go with the token. The virtual commodities stay virtual. Sure, you buy plots through virtual lands, that works. You can actually buy physical plots from the virtual lands, that's another thing. So but then again, there is a distinction there. So NFTs are pretty much, like they stay in the virtual world. Also a good way to look at it is where you can use NFTs. Games are implementing NFTs, so which is actually a lot of which is a very big debate that is going on right now, and a very heavily criticized topic, that games should not be doing such heavy monetary situations. It should just be for fun, but that's a whole different thing. But if you think about it, games did start some games have started offering NFTs where you can actually buy things that are very much, independent to you. You buy a specific gun in a game, that is there is only one copy of that gun. So you know that is only you have that gun. Sure, it may be looking similar to someone else's gun, but that gun itself, it has a unique token ID, and that is unique to you. So yeah, that is also another thing to note about NFTs is that NFTs are also something that, are encouraged because they have a scenario. For example, if you think about it, painter wants to sell his painting, physical painting, okay? He wants to sell his painting, he goes to an auction house, the auction house sells, they keep a set of commission for themselves. That is how it works. Even digitally, if you used to buy some commodities digitally, some unique painting through there has to be some mediator entity that is there. NFTs remove that factor. NFTs are, since they are cryptographic tokens and they are this whole decentralized thing that is, running on a blockchain technology. A artist could just sell that NFT on its own. That NFT itself, that token will itself have the meta that will link it back. So it will have the of the owner, the person who buys it, and even if you start trading it, so you sell it to someone else and then he sells it to someone else, the entire line of that purchase and selling will still stay with that NFT. So you know that this NFT is unique to you, and that entire line is what makes every NFT unique, because it knows who is the owner and who is the creator of that NFT, who currently owns it. That is what makes NFTs unique. It's a very similar concept to real world properties or real world, art that you buy. That you someone has to own that land, you buy it from them. There is a lineage between that land, you from owner to owner to owner. Same works with NFTs. It saves all of these metadatas, and NFTs even provide. So artists even have a scenario where you artists get royalty. So every time that NFT is sold to someone else, an artist gets a royalty part from that NFT. So that also encourages artists to actually invest into NFTs, because then they can actually have partial or side earnings through that same commodity, because they were the one who created it, for example. So if a digital painting is there and you buy it, or a good example would be, there is a game called as F1 Delta Racing, which is there. It's an online game where you can actually purchase race tracks. And so there is this one person who created this virtual race track, and then he made it, so it was an NFT basically. And so every time that racetrack is used by some this thing for an event, the artist gets a revenue for it. It's basically like just a good partial income. So you get it. NFTs help in, removing those middle authorities who are handling these transactions and giving a direct communication between the creator and the buyer. That is a very much of a fictional topic to think about. I mean, sure, why not? Some overlord is controlling me to say all of this right now. I mean, sure, this whole, I mean, you're thinking that ये button press करके मतलब event, मतलब ये event schedule हो गया someone and we are all sitting over here. Could be, but that's again a very fictional and a very separate thing. But yeah, we could be living in someone else's virtual reality. Sure, why not? Yeah, it is a very vast and a very philosophical topic. It has nothing to do with technology for one thing. So let's just leave it aside for now. But yes, so there are a lot of job opportunities. Developers, designers, artists, everything that you think about could be done for real world, or even normal games. Think about from a simple perspective. I go with it as games, because NFTs are essentially all about creating virtual worlds, and essentially are all about living in those virtual worlds as an avatar. This is what game developers and this is what video games have been doing for a while now. It's just that they have been doing it from the pure perspective of fun. Now, this is what Mark Zuckerberg, through his metaverse concept, wants to actually move this to a lifestyle. It's not just about having fun anymore, or just, it's about the way in which we live. So games have been doing this for years. So anyone who is interested in development in that scenario, definitely, like, this is a direct, like, you games are something that have been doing virtual worlds. You create things inside those. You're creating unique avatars. You're creating characters. So all of that always happens. The logic of you actually moving through the worlds and all that's still the same. So yes, networking also plays an important part, because then these virtual worlds have to be linked through. So essentially, all the core jobs that you're seeing are the core jobs that are also going to be transitioning into metaverse. So if you want to be if you want to be into cyber security, definitely that is a big scope in metaverse. If you want to be into blockchain technology, that, well, NFTs are run on blockchain. All decentralized currencies and commodities are run on blockchain. So go ahead. Machine learning is going up and bounds to get technologies about it. backend coding just for making sure the whole economy of it is running, and server management and all, so that is still there. uh, yeah, basically any job that you can think of that, yeah, this is something that IT professionals do, transition it good well into simple. It's just a framework. If you think about it from a technical perspective, it's a framework. So ठीक है, game आती है, there can be another game, but the core system behind it stays the same, right? So now that meta, the instead of just playing those games, now that it's all about communicating with people, meeting each other virtually, but it's essentially still a game. It's essentially still that experience is same. It's just the way in which it is communicated, the perspective of it is different now. So the technology behind it is same. It's going to advance, but yeah. uh Sources about for I mean, sure, you'd find some blockchain and all. Like you could go, definitely being Udemy courses for blockchain, AWS, cloud networking, all of those. Any of your normal courses that you would be doing for those, they could well and tie up with that. And apart from that, for metaverse specifically, uh, I would say that metaverse doesn't have any courses as such. For like, if you think about it, there's no. It's just a concept, right? So your technology are the courses. So for your traditional ones, cybersecurity and going through all of that, uh, Udemy is a good content. If you actually want to do about developing virtual worlds, or specifically speaking about the part of it, or how will it be a big thing if you would have to pay? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Uh, Aruna, can you explain that a bit more? So speaking from Anurag, please, if you would like, please just explain it. I'm happy to answer that, but I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Anurag, you
About
mute yourself and you can ask directly, no issues.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
I mean, like for selling an NFT, we have to pay the gas fee on any.
Uh, right. I mean, yeah, you mean the revenue or any that revenue that I talked about. You mean that?
I think he's asking about the fees, courses fees, like that. Yes, Anurag?
No, sir. I just
No,
meant
no.
that how can it be a big thing if everyone have to pay the gas fees on blockchain?
I mean, it's not everyone. It's dependent on the particular creator of that NFT. So when I meant by that specific scenario, it's not everyone, but hey, it's something that you invest in. I mean, when you were small, हम लोग सब पोकेमोन कार्ड्स खरीदते थे, हम लोग सब WWE कार्ड्स खरीदते थे, regardless of the fact that they were costing us a lot of money. We didn't care about it. We used to get those cards. We used to trade them. So as of now, it's just a thing that enthusiasts do, investors do, and it's independent. So hey, everything is going virtual. So why not invest into that? Because I mean, ठीक है, NFT sell for millions of dollars. So potential investors buy it, but it's just for that right now. There is no hard earned usage for it. It's something that you trade in. There is no specific way to put it. करना है तो करो. It is, and it's not like how will it be a big thing. That's the whole point, right? It already is a big thing. If every second there are thousands of NFTs being sold, people are purchasing it. And right now most of them are just investors and enthusiasts who are actually interested in this technology running behind it, and they think that yeah, this technology will go forward. And those are the ones. Gamers are a lot into NFTs because hey, obviously everyone wants to have that. For example, if you could have a unique skin in CS:GO or PUBG or anything that only you own, no other player in the world has that skin. People would want that. A gun that only you own, sure, the gun would look same, skin of the gun, MP40, लेकिन design सिर्फ आपका same है, not anyone else's. I would want that, or anyone would want that. So like, that is the whole concept behind it. So sure, why not? You buy things in real life that are unique, and that have that unique presence. You buy property, you buy paintings, you buy music or anything, or you buy whatever n number of those commodities or art or sculptures that are, made by that one person, or you each unique to its own self. eh, NFTs are same thing, just in a virtual space. So whether you're paying a gas fee, whether you're paying some revenue over it, or whether you are buying whatever currency you're using to buy it, it doesn't matter. It's just something that you do. If you are living in a virtual space, then if people are ready to, buy stuff, buy land, and buy and create their own avatar to live in a virtual space, what is to stop them from buying things in virtual space? Sure, artists who are actually creating this stuff, the ones who are actually genuinely doing it for selling their art and all, they have a good platform. Regardless of that, anyone can create an NFT, which doesn't have to be that. I mean, sure, the value is what matters. So I think that should answer your question, I hope. uh, Apart from that, if you so coming back to the point of resources for learning this about this, want to start specifically building the worlds and actual, like, similar to games. uh, Unity or Unreal Engine are there, amazing resources, amazing YouTube channels that you can go to, like Saiku. There is a lot of other YouTube channels, Game Dev Guide. Brackeys is now not there anymore. Brackeys is not no longer creating active content, but there are a lot of resources that are there, and n number of other YouTube channels that make Unity and game development related content daily. Unreal Engine is there for create, like, it's there. Anyone who is a C++ enthusiast, or just want to not that much into coding but wants to do game dev, Unreal Engine is a okay place to start. Apart from that, if you want to delve into VR and AR, I would recommend you going through how Google has their own, AR core, and this thing. Apple also has its own AR kit engine that is there. So that is a good place to refer AR technologies there. Uh, Apart from which, again, if you want AR and VR and want a very simple place where there is not much, too much effort to get into that process, Unity is a good engine to work with. It's has its own things that are there, but it's a good thing for beginners to actually start learning about this technology. And Unity has a lot of AR and VR resources that are there. Unity's own like site has a lot of learning resources for tutorials available, which you can go to and refer to, just get to know about these technologies. Anyone interested in art, for this specifically from an art perspective, if you're good at art, Blender is a good place to start. If you haven't already, I'm pretty sure you have, but yes. So all of these are just normal things that you would do for your traditional scenarios. Now you just have to, Metaverse is a frame that you will be putting all of that into. So sure, all of those are there. Any other questions?
Hello, Rupesh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gaurav here. So you are game developer. So I want to get your experience, like how you are in this college, in the same college, and how did you get into this all occupation? What you did means at this time, what you have learned, any extra thing what you did for this.
So I have started using Unity, yes, definitely. But the thing is, I have been doing Unity since my around my diploma. So I've done a diploma, then a degree. So after my 10th, right after my 10th, I started delving into Unity, and I was always interested in game development as in general. So just used to like go to YouTube, all of these channels that I told you, Brackies, Saiku, game dev guide on YouTube. There are a lot more. I mean, I'm not even doing justice if I'm not saying the name. So, but there are a lot of creators out there who are ready to teach you the basics of game development. So that's just it. You go through YouTube, because when you're doing this like a traditional course, you won't be delving into it too much. But yeah, if you, and I would recommend, since for projects and all, if you would like to do it in that way, like you, it would help if you could do some sort of a minor, like learning C sharp for from a perspective of Unity from YouTube is a very good thing, and there is no hard and fast. But there are some constraints when it comes to, so for example, I have done my projects in uh, Unity. I have made games for my diploma as well as my final year. Both of my projects have been on game development. One has been a multiplayer focused scenario, whereas one has been a survival game which is focused on AI and everything. So the constraint that comes there is that C sharp being a language that is not taught to you, it is expected that you do something that you have already learned in the courses. So if you, for example, do some sort of a minor certification, or a couple, or like 4 months, 5 months, or even a 6 month certification on Udemy, or any like uh, certification course that actually has a valid certificate, that would help, because then you can actually show that, hey, this is like, C sharp well enough to implement it around. Because Unity uses C sharp, C++ is something that is taught to us in diploma. I mean, not sure if, or degree even, I think we have C++. So if you go into Unreal Engine, it is a little bit more complex and a little bit more tedious to get into. But yeah, so definitely go to YouTube, watch videos, start learning in your spare time. Just do that. I have done that. And after my degree, I just freelanced for a year. Just I published a game on Play Store, which at least gave me the confidence that yes, now I can actually work at a proper game development, company that makes games. So yeah, just do it in your free time. There is no specific things. Apart from this, there are a lot more. So if you specifically are interested into game development in general, there are game development postgraduate courses that are there in India as well as outside of India. In India, there is a very few of them, but yes, there are there. Uh, Search for those. There are proper bachelor courses for game development as well now in India. Uh, and there are a lot of master level courses for game development in Australia, Canada, US. A lot of opportunities, even in Europe. In some places, there are good courses. So definitely, if you want to pursue game development and you want to do it in a traditional like way, where you actually learn it from some course or something, and not just do it from an independent perspective, खुद से घर पे बैठ के नहीं हो रहा है ऐसा types का होता है, so you can go for that, masters in game development or anything. So yeah, but even in those, you will require some resource, like you will require to have some sort of a portfolio, so it is always helpful to learn, you know Sure. I mean, see, it's all about your developer and all. It's a very varied range, but yes, I mean, being a developer, so see, game development is very similar to, uh, if you think about it from a perspective, game development is very similar to any traditional, like any app development. The only thing is that how you are viewing that app, is different. The way in which you are interacting with it is different. You are actually controlling a thing, the character inside that virtual space, and then you are do that helps you do things inside that virtual environment. In an app, that is not the case. You just use it with the finger, but the core scenario is the same. So development sure varies, and you can get a good salary provided you have some good experience. You may start off a little bit slower, but definitely there is a lot good scope in game development. And yeah, you can, I mean, if you get some job in some bigger company like Ubisoft or Naughty Dog, or hey, you're looking at an upwards of $150,000 worth of salary tak bhi ja sakta hai. That's a big far out. Like it will take you at least 8-10 years to reach that amount. But sure, you're looking at good salaries. But again, game development salary wise, it's about learning experience chahiye, so it might take you a while. Like as a salary, it's a common thing everywhere you start. You'll get a reasonable package enough to start around. You get some experience and you keep on improving yourself. You get better opportunities. So I think that answers your question, Mayur. And Gaurav, I hope anything else, like, does that help you? Good. So if you guys have any other questions apart from you know extended reality or anything specific to game development or any other technology you want to ask, feel free, or else we can wrap up the session.
Are there any more questions? Okay, thank you, Rutvik sir, for your talk. Now, let me invite Dr. Pradeep Mane sir to propose the vote of thanks. Sir, please. Uh,
Thank you. Yes, yes, Apurva.
no, I thought you left the meeting. Sorry.
Okay, okay. No issue. Uh, Dear Rutvij and all the attendees, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our past students, the alumni, Mr. Rutvij from the IT department from the 2020 batch pass out. So the webinar was really good, and I think student get benefit from this session so for the career in the AI. Sorry, the game development, all these things. So I'm sure you all the students have benefited from the same. And please take a note that we are arranging such webinars for the benefits of the students community. So please attend this and improve your skills. So thank you, Rutvij, and thank you all the students. So we will meet in the next webinar. Thank you all of you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Rutvij.
sir. I hope you guys had fun and I hope boring nahi tha. So
No, no,
I hope,
it's
and
interactive, and I'm sure that student will get benefits and how to make the career in the VR and all the game development. So they will surely get the benefits from this session.
thank you. And thank you so much to Pradeep sir and TPO for arranging this. So